2021, our goal was to be able to serve anyone, anytime, any place. And I am so happy and proud to say that this year that became a reality. We doubled our staff, we moved to a new building, and we implemented several new programs. In all of this growth that we've experienced over the past couple years, we have stayed on mission and found new ways to innovate care. Our mission being providing accessible, meaning we break down barriers of access or the reasons people can't get the help that they need. We work to break down those barriers. Relational, we build trust with our clientele. We build relationships. This is more than just a clinical service. And affordable, we're always looking for ways to keep costs down for individuals, and we never turn anyone away. The best way for you to see all that we've accomplished in 2021 is to hear from those that are in the trenches, that are out in the community serving you every single day.
I remember sitting at the kitchen table at the old Arukah, at the old house, and that's where we would hold our staff meetings. And the yoga room was just, I would call it the yoga house. It was just this living room that was transformed into this amazing yoga space. And now we're in a building. We've hired new instructors, and we've got more class offerings. Our classes are designed to be welcoming for all levels and for all peoples. You can attend classes online. You can be out of town and attend classes with us through our online link. We've gone to schools, church groups, lots of different places.
I first started going to yoga just because I was having back issues and felt like I needed to strengthen my core and needed to strengthen my muscles. And then I kept coming because I liked how it helped with my mind and my mental attitude and my overall fitness. The group that I come with on Mondays and Wednesdays, we usually go out for coffee or breakfast. Most of them I knew ahead of time outside of class, but we had never really done anything together. And so once we started coming to yoga together, then it just kind of developed into a friendship and just something to do while we were out to spend a little bit more time together outside of class.
It's been really fun to teach with those ladies. It's really turned into quite the group. I've talked to some of the ladies and they're like, yeah, retirement wasn't exactly what I thought it was gonna be. I'm at home alone and I'm bored, and I'm so thankful that I found Arukah and yoga because it just reconnected them to this community that they may not have otherwise found just sitting at home.
We have a lot of fun together, laugh, tell stories, solve the problems of the world.
A little over 2 years ago, we started working with Arukah to get officers trained in crisis intervention training. And we brought Arukah in to ride along with our officers and had counselors present in the squad car when they would respond to certain types of calls and or be called in when we would have those calls happening and realize that their services would be helpful. Through that, we developed relationships with counselors who then could follow up with some of these calls, which would help us from having to go back to the same places over and over again because we were starting to be able to connect people with services that they needed. Over time, that evolved into more counselors being hired and spending more time with officers and expanding that relationship out into 4 counties, Bureau County, Putnam County, Marshall County, and LaSalle counties. And most of the law enforcement agencies in those counties have come on board and participate in the 24/7, 365 crisis response that is now offered through Arukah.
I was one of the first few clinicians on the crisis response, and I mean we've had hundreds, if not thousands already, of either calls directly from law enforcement or referrals made from law enforcement or emergency departments.
Sometimes the crisis calls may be things like they need to eat, they have nowhere to live, they're fighting with their significant other, they're depressed. They have no one to talk to. Or it might be a suicidal or a homicidal call where there are clear signs that we need to take someone to be hospitalized. But if I can stay with them throughout that process and try to make it as comfortable as possible, because they are fighting a very difficult battle.
Law enforcement entities need a buffer between those in crisis, those in help, and those with the expertise to deal with mental crisis. This is where Arukah comes into play. Not all candidates of people who are in need of mental assistance are necessarily required or in need of going to the local emergency room for treatment, but they need that counselor to act as a buffer, somebody that can help show them the way and let them know that they are not alone and that there is resources out there to help.
I have a unique ability to apply empathy to a lot of the crisis calls I go on because I know what those things feel like. I know the situation they're in. I have the ability and the capacity to put myself into their shoes and help them find realistic solutions. I think that is what drives my passion, is inherently knowing the need within my own body and my own bones because I've experienced it. As a utilizer of services, I take my own personal experience and my education and combine them together to be able to serve people.
The last several years, law enforcement is now responding to approximately 20% of its calls associated to or made up of mental health issues. And for an agency to come out and to be able to offer assistance to law enforcement agencies, it's absolutely critical. It's crucial, and it's invaluable. And we are very, very happy that Arukah came to our area.
I've been sober for roughly a year and a half. Before that, I was on a long, dark path of meth use. It took over my life. It took my money, it took my time, it took my person. Like, I was a different person when I was on drugs, and I got arrested one day. Got pulled over, thought my life was over because my addiction was a secret. I begged the police officers to just kill me, just shoot me, please, 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 just shoot me. Of course, they wouldn't, those good guys. And I was put in the back of a paddy wagon, which I didn't even know existed. I thought it was just like in the movies. No, it's real, it's scary. I was in the back there just having a meltdown, crying, and I looked up into the sky and I was like, God, if you're real, now's the time. I need you to take my life or help me through this. And from that moment, like even now I got chills, like a sensation through my body came through me, and it was like he took all of my addiction away from me. It wasn't on my mind anymore. I was able to have no withdrawal symptoms, no urges. I kind of feel like a miracle. I thank God every day for that. Yes, I'm on probation. Yes, I had to be arrested and go to jail, but it was 100% worth it. I thank God every day that I was pulled over.
Several individuals that had come up to us were struggling with mental health and with addictions of various sorts. Now, obviously, being at a major manufacturing plant that has its dangers embedded in the workforce itself in terms of the things that we do here, we cannot afford to have folks that are not focused on the job and operating in the field trying to produce our products. If our folks are content in their home lives, it's more likely to be successful in the work that they accomplish at the plant. But Washington Mills has taken the stance of, irrespective of what the charge is, let's offer the services, let's pay for the services, and let's try and ensure we get the personnel back on site in 100% condition so that they can fulfill the tasks they need to do at our facility.
I'd say out of nowhere I felt anxiety. I didn't really have much control over my thoughts. I felt kind of useless to say in anything. So I felt depressed. I couldn't speak to really anybody, and my story entails of going to Arukah and going to counseling, and they really helped me out with those problems. All of a sudden, COVID hit. It was just a complete switch of everything, and that, to I guess a lot of teenagers, isn't good. They don't know how to cope with a sudden change like that. They don't know how to turn their old life into a new life, I guess, and that is what Arukah honestly helped me with, which was just being comfortable in my own head and being comfortable in my own thoughts around other people.
Our mental health in this area for many students in recent years has declined, and so the more supports that we can provide, whether it's a motivational video, whether it's someone coming in and talking and working with stuff, there's lots of support that Arukah has provided, and we appreciate that.
Schools have so much need for mental health supports, and the difficult thing is we're very time limited at schools and resource limited as far as mental health supports go. And so having these supports come to us, or knowing who we can reach out to, really is beneficial to the schools, because there's definitely not a shortage of mental health support need in the school setting. Pre-K up.
Unfortunately, crises happen in our world and in our schools, and we do the best we can to prepare for that, because at the time of a crisis, there's a lot of thoughts that are going through our mind. And so at Bureau Valley, we worked diligently to come up with a crisis plan, so that way, if things happen, we know what to do. We have supportive services in place. And unfortunately, we've had a couple crises that have happened in recent years, and at that time, we needed to reach out and provide as many supports as possible. And within the past year or so, we've reached out to Arukah, and they've been able to provide supportive services for whether our students or our staff when we go through difficult times.
Not only do I see mental health issues as a guidance counselor, but because I also participate in other extra school activities with students, including a student-led mental health group, and we also have a drama club at our school. I do see that in the past 2 years, there's been an increase in anxiety, increases in depression, dealing with the fallout from the pandemic, students whose families have lost jobs, and that has caused additional stress at home and how that's impacting them and things like that.
The C5 Counselor Conference was well liked from what I've heard from other counselors, social workers, school psychologists that attended it. It was nice to be able to hear that we're all kind of in the same boat this year with the stress levels, and to be able to connect with each other and make sure that we know others that are in our area, and you're less in your own little silo and there's other people that you can really reach out to or share cool ideas with.
I spent the previous 9 years in elementary education, being a 4th and 5th grade teacher in a self-contained classroom, and decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different. I think that the Worth video program is a launching pad for talking about mental health and substance abuse issues. I hope to grow the Worth program to not just be making weekly videos, but also having regular interactions with community members as well as students, to continue those discussions, to continue the process of seeing what problems we are not meeting and trying to figure out how we could possibly meet those in the future. The ASSIST program is a program that we offer here at Arukah where we go out into the community and teach techniques for suicide intervention.
Too oftentimes we do trainings or things on suicide, but it's usually after it has already occurred rather than before it has occurred. So I think that is one of the important things to take away from ASSIST is the idea that, you know, you can't always prevent tragedy from happening, but there are times that you can, and one of the things is just to keep people talking.
A lot of people have the idea that we don't want to glorify or talk about suicide because that will make more suicide happen, when in all actuality, talking about it and responding to it in ways that feel communicative are very beneficial for the community at large.
Whether you're winning at life or whether you're barely making it, Arukah is for anyone, anytime, any place. We want you to know that you will be always greeted with compassion, with care, with dignity and respect. We will meet you right where you're at. And I also want you to know that we're listening. How has care not worked for you in the past? What things have prevented you from getting the care that you need? We want to know those things so we can continue to evolve, so our services can continue to become better, and we can reach further and further into our community until every person has had a chance to heal. I could not imagine a better staff. These are the most talented, diverse, competent, caring, compassionate, kind, tenacious group of individuals. We have so many exciting things for this community coming out in 2022. Better services, more services, better ways that we can stand in the gap for this community. The vision of Arukah is restored hope and purpose in communities. When people struggle with mental illness or substance use, they lose their hope and their purpose in life. Arukah is so much more than just providing clinical services. We journey alongside you and help you restore hope and purpose in your life. Because it's not just about existing or breathing oxygen, it's about living an abundant life.